All right, let's do this.
There are cows in the nether. This is 3.2 thousand tiles of wheat. Oh, great. Now my farm is broken. I am only moving at 1 frame. So you're going to need some backstory. In this video right here, I basically had this running gag where I would just feed cows in a 3x3 pit, and at the end of the video, I released them all and it was all very dramatic. You should have been there. The thing that I noticed is the cows were actually lagging my game. So it got me thinking, can I crash my game, potentially my computer, just by breeding cows? To answer that question, I would start up my stream and we tried to bust the myth that no one really asked for. Obviously, my computer would need to be absolutely pristine for this task. For those who are wondering, and if you wanted to try this for yourself, my computer specs are the following: an RTX 2080, an i7 8700K CPU, and 32 gigabytes of dedicated RAM. If you're not a PC nerd and you have no clue what that is, basically my PC is an absolute beast. Let's actually get into the creation of this catastrophe. We joined the world and picked up from where we left off in the video. If you want context for that, well, now you have it. My first task was I had to get all the cows that we had let loose from the incest pit into a brand new pit. So we headed down the mountain and started mapping out my big old stinky pit to put the cows in. We also decided to keep the dirt that we farmed up because I knew we would need it a fair bit later for other parts of this project. More on that later. So after about 10 minutes, we finished the layout of the pit and started placing ladders around the border so we could actually escape, and pit Mark II was complete. The only chore now was to fill up the pit with cows, but of course it was an absolute pain because some asshole decided to let all the cows free. So the process of luring all the cows into the pit took a fair bit, as a fair few of them decided to go on a nice Sunday stroll. Also during this process of luring old mates into the pit, I was also breeding the cows. So for the next 30 minutes, we played the fun little game of cow sex, that's a sentence, wheat farming, and luring the cows on repeat. This also had a cute little side effect of cow suicide. Sad as it may be, there was one light at the end of the tunnel, and that was Beyblading Cow. So I say this is already worth it at this point. But next I had to go away from the cows for a bit, and we needed to create a brand new wheat farm. Now, old mate that we've been using is good for sure, but we're talking about crashing Minecraft by breeding cows. So obviously we need to make a farm to match this caliber. Knowing that we needed a god tier farm, obviously we would need a god tier hoe. And we didn't actually have any more netherite, so we had to take a quick detour to the nether to do some goddamn cheeky mining. Well, time to go back into the nether. There are cows in the nether. So after letting my pickaxe go microwave mode for about 10 minutes, we finally found some netherite for us to make a netherite hoe. I never thought I'd unironically need to make a netherite hoe, but here we are. We headed home and crafted a diamond hoe, enchanted it with efficiency 5 and unbreaking, and then finally slapped on old mate netherite onto it. So finally we had everything necessary to make our wheat farm. So I'm sure it wouldn't take that long. So I kid you not, after 3 goddamn hours of me getting all the materials, making sure the redstone was working, I created this huge auto-destroying wheat farm. So finally, after all that effort, we had a decent source of wheat. Thing to note as well, it's that goddamn big that the tile frames took a while to update. So we're getting close, ladies and gentlemen, to some form of crash, but we're not that. I kid you not, one whole layer of this farm takes 5 stacks of seeds, and we have 5 layers to the farm. So putting that one in the calculator, we have 1.6 thousand tiles of wheat. Whilst creating this masterpiece, we were also feeding our little sex pit the good. So if we come over and actually take a look, yeah, see, the game is actually starting to lag a bit. I mean, just listen to this. But also, if you notice, the pit itself is looking a bit crammed. I think we can change that. Time to begin Operation Expand Step Hole Mark II. So we expanded the hole by a decent amount. I decided we needed to go bigger. Much bigger. With this in mind, we of course had to make the hole size 69 by 69. So obviously, here is the making process of this marvelous creation. Alright, time to release the cows. So in all my insane thought processes, I thought, hey, that wheat farm creation took a fair amount of time to create. What if I did it again? Because we doubled our goddamn size of our wheat farm. Meaning that the finished product of this wheat farm was 3.2 thousand blocks worth of that good wheat. And that's just the block where the wheat goes on. This is not including the torches that I have had to place underneath, the redstone, and literal hundreds of dirt blocks I had to place along the outskirt. But we've done it before, and we only have to go up, so surely it wouldn't take that long. God, I wish I was joking. The difference this time is we had to plant all those seeds. And I kid you not, it takes 1 hour to plant the entire thing. I guess we got a new problem to solve. Though I'll do what every YouTuber does when they're faced with a problem. Avoid it until they try and cancel you on Twitter. But obviously, we'll come back to the wheat problem later. We then gathered the farmed pieces of wheat and fed it to our ever-growing cow army, which just now sounds like this. You know what that sounds like? It sounds like my game isn't crashing yet. Let's keep going. During this time, whilst waiting for the newly bred cows to grow up and the wheat to grow, we needed something to do. And actually, I thought of something that I dare say is going to be extremely useful, which is going to the end. Now, if you watch the 24-hour video, we only ended up going to the end once to beat the Ender Dragon at the end of the video. In a very cinematic way, you should have been there. But we didn't actually venture towards the end city, and that's where we need to go next. Now, that's something we need to obtain is the elytra. I mean, we wouldn't really need the dragon head now, would we? I can see you scratching your monkey brains, wondering what the diddly darn fuck do elytras and cows have in common? Well, to put it simple, not a lot. They will have a lot to do with each other in a few seconds. So after what seemed to be like 10 minutes of exploring, because it was 10 minutes of exploring, we reached the end city, yoinked the elytra, and flew back to our house. Now, what was the point of all that? As big as our wheat farm is, my god, does this thing take time to grow the crops, and the tick speed will be slowing down exponentially just because of the sheer amount of entities are in my game currently. So we need a quicker way to get wheat, which is the problem we had earlier. And this is where the elytra will come in. I will fly around to different villages around my world and just yoink all of their hay bales, which if you didn't know, 1 hay block counts for 9 pieces of wheat. And you can get villages that have half a stack of hay. Now, I can hear you ask, why didn't you do this instead of spending literal hours building the wheat farm? And to that I say, after going around to every village and with all the wheat in our inventory to solve world hunger and enough frequent fire points to buy a country, it was now just a constant repeat of feed the cows, get the wheat, put the seeds down, go to sleep, and watch as my frames go down into the double digits. But as time went on, our game legit became a PowerPoint slide as we got down to 4 frames, 3 frames, 2 frames, 1 frame with over 4,000 actual cows on screen, so many wheat tiles loaded in, the game actually unloaded the cows because there were so many cows. And as Chad and I were in pure anticipation, we did it. Chat went wild. I was relieved as we had finally crashed hardcore Minecraft by breeding cows. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'm just gonna sit here and have a staring contest with the Amogus in the background.